All right, what's up? So today we're going to be editing like Brandon Weefel. Well, first off, I guess let's introduce. We're going to take this photo right here and turn it into something like this. There you go. It's dreamy. It looks like Tinkerbell farted dust everywhere. So the thing with Brandon's photography is he's shooting at ridiculous apertures. I shot this in an f2.8. An aperture means it controls your depth of field. And so the lower the number is, as far as like mine's a 2.8, that's the max aperture my lens will go. The more blurry your background will be. If I were to bump this up, you can see in the background how everything is out of focus except for the lightning stick. So first things first, we're going to bump up all of our exposure a little bit. And you can do this like in my other videos. You click on the exposure and then you use plus or minus buttons to expose it. We're not going to mess with contrast at all because his photos are pretty soft looking. We'll go with a little bit of highlights to give it more definition. Don't increase the rating, you freaking idiot. Let's see. Okay. So highlights, same idea. You just punch them up with the buttons, the plus or minus. Shadows, Brandon, I've noticed, really likes his shadows to be not dark at all. He likes them to be almost gray. So leave it about that. Let's do the whites up a little bit. The whites will give it a little bit more contrast, so you have to be careful with these. And he also shoots at what's called the blue hour or nighttime. The blue hour is right after sunset, and it's when the sun is still illuminating the night sky a little bit, but it's a little bit more blue, or it's very blue. It's not a little bit more blue. He shoots with these pedophile glasses, 1970s cop glasses, and he shoots with neon lights. So if you can get those things, you're good to go. He also shoots with sparklers, so that's kind of what we're mimicking here. Let's bring our blacks down a little bit. Let's try that. I'll increase the clarity a little bit, which I think looks good. I like clarity. He has very vibrant photos, but they aren't saturated. Vibrance and saturation are very different things. So I would bump up my vibrance and then desaturate a little bit. Let's see how that looks. It's very blue, obviously. We don't want it that blue. I know it's, we want it to be a little bit blue at least. Let's go. Let's try that for now. So that's a good place to start. So as we scroll down to the curves, these are where you're going to get most of your colors from. Let's do our basic S curve, 3 dots. And like every other photographer now is he crushes his blacks. Or not crushes, he clips them. So they're not actually black, they're gray. See that difference? Look at that. Not black, they're gray now. Same with the highlights. Bring it down just a tiny bit. And to me, maybe drop your shadows just a tiny bit. Give it a dark and mysterious look. That looks pretty good to me. So now we're going to go over to this little button right here. We're going to go down to your blues. So this is your controls for your blue curves. And what he is doing, a lot of his photos are very blue, as you've noticed. So we're going to put a little bit of blue into those shadows, like so. And you can tell in the shadows, you can see the difference right now. So this is before the curves, and this is after. So you're getting that kind of dreamy look, which everyone is, for some freaking reason, so in love with. Even me. I'm so basic. It hurts me. Okay. Come down to your color tab. This is your HSL color. Click on the hue tab, and this is where you're going to get a lot more color as well. Skin tones will generally be in the reds and oranges. You can click on this little tab right here, and if you scroll on the colors, it will change them accordingly, so you can make them look whatever color you want, but we're not going to go as far as that. Your reds and your oranges will be mostly your skin tones. He nails his skin tones. I gotta hand it to the guy. He knows how to shoot for skin tone, which is, I admire him because he nails it with his skin tones every time. Let's punch down the yellow a little bit. She's looking a little yellow. Greens, let's pull those suckers down. Not a lot of people like greens these days, which is fine. You know, let's pull the aquas down just a tiny bit. And our blues, we're going to pull way down. So this is going to really mess with the smoke right now. See that? Now you can see the difference, what that made. Which that's pretty good. It's not looking too shabby. Let's take our purples up. That's not even doing anything. Screw it. Let's leave them up. And if you were to scroll back up here, we're going to adjust white balance. Kind of as I was editing, I noticed that it doesn't look as good as I want it to. So what I did is you grab this eyedropper right here and you can sample kind of a gray area of your photo and it will adjust the white balance accordingly. It's not very accurate, so sometimes it's hit and miss. You have to be kind of careful because it will freaking F up all of your colors. So let's try it right there. To me, that looks good. And that's what I found for this particular photo, is right in that area to be good. And you can see over here, you can see the adjustments as they're happening before you actually adjust them, which is pretty nifty. So you can see if it's going to look like complete crap before you actually do it. So I'm going to pick somewhere for skin tone wise, probably right in there. So to me, that looks pretty good. And if I'm flying through this, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get this done. I don't want to sit and explain everything. I have another video which you can check out, which I really go into detail on all of the settings in Lightroom, which can help you out. So highlights, we're going to bump up a little bit. He's got a certain warmth but coldness to his photos. It's really interesting. So the split toning is really good for this. In the highlights, add a little bit of warmth. And then, let's see. Actually, let's go back to this really quick. I'm not liking the colors as much. Let's bump down some of the saturation on our yellows and a little bit of saturation on our greens as well. We're going to take that down and just a tiny bit in the face as far as saturations. If you want to see your previous photo, there's a button right below your delete or backspace buttons, the backslash. Press that and it'll go your before and after. Or you can click these buttons as well, just to oogle at your own work. So that's pretty drastic so far. I'm liking that. So let's see. What else does this need? Shadows are very more blue. Very good English. Okay. Very blue shadows. So split toning. We're going to bump in a little bit more shadows. The saturation controls how much shadows are in there. You can also do changes of color through here by pulling up these. You can see what it's doing to the photo. But I usually just like to do it by the sliders. It's a little bit more accurate for me. And then your balance, if you want the balance between these two to be more highlights, you go this side. This is the highlight side. See how it's more yellow now because we chose highlight color. This is a crash course. You guys just follow along, okay? We're going to leave it more blue, definitely more blue, because this is Brandon Weeful. We're going to do it his style. So, sharpening is a great thing. I love sharpening. He does it too. Since he's shooting at such high apertures, or low apertures, you're going to have very selective focusing. And so here, we're focused mainly on the fire wand, whatever it is. Sparkler, that's what I'm looking for. So we're going to sharpen the F out of this photo, but what you can do is there's this cool thing called masking, which is what I just learned about. If you bump up your masking, it's going to mask out everything that's out of focus and selectively sharpen the only things that are in focus. So it leaves the rest of your photo untouched, but it sharpens the things that are in focus. So it makes it look pretty cool. And it doesn't look too bad like that. So that works for me. Scroll down here, we're going to enable profile corrections. And that's going to remove your lens distortions. I normally don't do this, but for this photo I did. And that really makes the smoke pop. See how it's kind of meh right now, and now it's a lot more popped out. He loves blues. He has I've heard it described as cotton candy color palette, which are blues, purples, pinks, and crap like that. So that's looking pretty good so far. Hipster, we're going to add in grain because freaking grain, why not? You know, who cares? Might as well. We're going to leave dehazing alone. And for now, I think that's pretty much it. Like, you can go in and do your minor tweaks on this. This is a really fast coarse, obviously. Pretty simple to get that look. So that's the basic look we're going for, right? So that's the before and that's the after. And now if you have Photoshop, what we're going to do is we're going to add in a little bit of the magic that he does. So we're going to right click on the photo. You don't have to do this. This just gives it a little bit more sparkle to it. Literally sparkles. So we're going to edit in Adobe Photoshop. We're going to pull it open, say open anyway. And it will save all of your settings from Lightroom and open them into Photoshop as this photo. And it's going to look like that when it's done. So it's going to read in camera raw format. And what we're going to do, I already have these downloaded. If you type into Google Spark Overlays and Bokeh Overlays, B-O-K-E-H, I think. Bokeh Overlays are these like little smooth circles that your camera creates when it is focusing on something in the foreground. The background will oftentimes, if you have a really high quality lens, have these really cool little circles that are out of focus, but they add these lights. We just found something on Google. You can put it over your photo, and this is just messing around with personal taste. He does this with all of his photos almost, I've noticed. So if you come over here on your layer that you selected for the bokeh, come over here, click on your blending options, and come down, let's try lighten. So see, it looks like complete crap right now, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on this, and we're gonna say this is gonna turn it into a smart object, it's gonna rasterize it so we can edit on it. Click E to bring up your eraser, and we're just gonna start erasing around these lights, just kind of around where we think they would look good. So it's just up to personal taste. I like to bring the opacity down on these so they're not super prominent. Yeah, and you just start kind of erasing just wherever, you know. I don't like them to be too uniform and not super apparent, just because it looks better when they're not. And you can even duplicate. So I'm using a Mac, but I have a Windows keyboard, so Windows button plus J is to duplicate your background, and then V to select, and then if you hold Shift you can resize this thing. I am going so fast right now, I know, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll gladly answer them with more detail, just because I want to keep this short. This isn't a Photoshop tutorial per se, it's just an editing style tutorial, so I don't want to spend too much time on the basics. Photoshop, there's a lot of great tutorials out there that you can use to learn, and they are great tools. Mine's wigging out because I'm filming. Come on, you little poop. Like, subtlety is always good. You don't want it to be so much editing involved that people can see, you know. I know that he's very keen on doing quite a bit of editing. His photos, if you go on his website, they're very, very stylized in Photoshop, which is totally okay. That's what he wants. Personally, I like shooting more natural. So that looks pretty good. You can see, looks like little sparks flying off. But now if we come in and we find a spark overlay in Google, we put it on. This is where we're going to get all of our sparks flying off. That's going to make it look like fairyland. So we're going to go, let's go lighten again. Let's try that. See, that looks awesome. I got tingles. Wow. Wow, panties in bunches. Wow. Click on it again to rasterize it, and then hit E, and you're just going to kind of erase around these things. Z to zoom in, hold Alt to switch your zoom options. Once again, this is not a course in Photoshop, so I'm sorry I'm going so fast. Kind of just erase around them, you know. We don't need so many freaking sparks. This is the one I edited before. That was like my test. I'm not sure what one I like better. That's looking pretty good. Let's do another copy of the bokeh flares, because I like those. They're looking pretty good. So you can rotate them around, make them look non-uniform as possible. Transform. Come on, computer. Let's see. And to me, that is looking pretty good. There you have it. That is a very crash course in how Brandon edits his photos. Now you can be Tumblr famous too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to download this photo, it is in the description. You can follow along. Like in previous videos, do not steal my work. I will hunt you down and burn your house down. So if you were to use this photo on Instagram or anything like that, just tag me in it. Give me the credit because it is my photo. And have fun editing along with it, you know. You freaking Tumblr people. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a good day.